Okay, just went and picked up some stuff off screen so that I am prepared for today's segment. Got some Pokeballs for exploring Kanto in the future. Dual purpose, of course, being I get Premier Balls out of it, which are going to get some use in this segment. Healed some stuff, got a appointment reminder of some stupid variety, whatever. I'm just going to go ahead and ignore that. I already know I have something on tomorrow, so it's fine. Healing items, don't need any max potions yet. I'm not too sure if I've shown off the focus sash, but I picked up one of those. I think that's about everything, aside from stuff that I sold, but no real need to care greatly about that. So, first port of call in this segment is going to be Olivine City. We're going to just sort of make it seem as if I'm going to Kanto right now, even though I'm obviously not going to. Instead, we have Oak.
Hello there. Here is a present for you.
And like a very stereotypical old man, he tries to work out in his very, very elderly brain where he frickin' put the item.
Oh. See you.
Okay, so I made sure I sped it up there. I actually threw away my last attempt at this segment because I failed to speed it up there. It's literally for a running joke, which you will know when you see the segment. So, there you go. We have the lock capsule. This is a very weird item, and I was actually supposed to go and do a bit of research on this thing, but I've just straight up forgotten to do that. But as you can see, it's a very weird looking freaking item. It's obviously in the shape of a capsule with a much larger lock than it should have any right to have, but whatever. This item was actually handed out in an event for Heart Gold and Soul Silver, but it served absolutely no purpose. What you would have to do is wait until Black and White came out, and then you could send the lock capsule, among other things, through a special feature for importing special stuff like that. Like, there's a certain thing you can do to send Pokemon across, but there was something separate from that allowed you to send specific event legendaries like Celebi and the Shiny Beasts and this lock capsule. The lock capsule here has a use because if you talk to... That is a side note, but we will talk about in just a moment. I just need to go and talk to somebody about this stupid lock capsule. No. Wait, what? Okay, that's a bit weird. I also like how the thing says it appears to have braille patterns on it. That does have something to do with what we're going to be doing in this segment, but I guess I need to trigger that event to get the other two Sinnoh starters. Doesn't hurt to give it a crack. I kind of need those starters anyway. So, yeah, you've kind of been wondering how I'm going to get all the other starters in this game, and that's exactly how you do it. As long as you have the Sinnoh starter that you picked early on in the game up the front of your party, of course, you can just talk to a relevant person and he'll give you the other two. And so here we have the Sinnoh starter person that we talked to in the form of Cynthia. The other three are all in Kanto, so I'll need to pick those up later on. Yep. And so she gives you both Turtwig as well as Piplup. Okay, cool. Both of which are at level 10. I'm not too sure why, because Chimchar's obviously at level 20. Comes holding an Oranberry for some reason. They both do. Okay, interesting. Okay. Not the most interesting thing there. Okay, here we go. Indeed they have. So these golems are going to be obtainable now that we've gone and done that little event. So I guess it did actually require you to get the Sinnoh starters. Oh well. It's not like I didn't have to do that anyway, so See if I can work out where they go. Chimchar goes over there, which means Turtwig should be placed over there. Let me quickly grab these other 2 starters out, and then I can move the Piplup over here, which I believe will sit right here. Yeah, there we go. They're in their relative positions. No, I'll need to bring Taily with me, because I'm going to still need to hang on to Tropius here to fly around, but... So... where was I? I was at the point where you had to use a special option to transfer the lock capsule over to black and white. So you would do that, and then you would talk to somebody in Castelia City who's like supposed to be an expert in locks, and if you talk to him with that in your inventory, he'll take it off you and he will open it up. And within it lies a Snarl TM. It's the only way that you can get a Snarl TM in Black and White 1. And I have to kind of wonder, because this was never actually handed out, at least not in English-speaking nations. Japan may have gotten it, but I don't actually think that they did. If I'd done the research beforehand, then I'd know for a fact whether or not it did. But I'm an idiot, and so I have no idea if that's actually accurate or not. I don't know why I just exited the thing, because I kind of need to fly to Mahogany Town for my first port of call. Even though I said Olivine was my first port of call, but yeah, I've got 3 different caves to look in for these golems. And so I'll do that. And so, yeah, was not handed out in most regions. And it is for a TM that is generally quite shit. It's not a very powerful move. It's a dark move. It's a special move. But it's not awfully powerful. I believe it drops the opponent's special attack one stage. I'm not too sure what the odds of that are. But in general, nobody uses it because it's not that great. And to make this event even more pointless, it was made easily accessible in Black and White 2. So if you've got Black and White 2, you just got to know where you can pick it up, and then you can just teach anything you want that move. Even though I just said earlier, it's shit. So my only question to you now is, Game Freak, what the hell were you thinking with this stupid event? They probably hand-waved it with the same excuse they did for the Azure Flutes, which is just like, people aren't going to get this, we don't think they will. Obviously, that's a gross underestimation of the player base of this frickin' series, because people know where to frickin' look up shit like this. So there you go. Very, very stupid. Anyways, now I can actually move forward, and here we have Regirock. So I will go ahead and throw a save state here. And who do I want to lead with? I feel like Kai'Jol one-shot it with Surf. This thing shows up, this thing starts at level 40, so I've got a very decent advantage on it in regards to levels, but we'll see how this works out. No custom music in these games, unfortunately, so we're getting a generic Wild Encounter music instead of just the Reggie Golem music, which is quite unfortunate. But let's see. So, using a special attacker shouldn't be a terrible idea. It's taking advantage of the weaker defense that Regirock has. And that does perfectly well. Alright. So yeah, there's Superpower coming into effect, so it shouldn't be able to hit me overly hard from here, because Superpower just keeps dropping its offenses. Now, I'm wondering whether or not I want to go with Hypnosis here, or like, if I want to go with Sleep or Paralysis. Paralysis lets me get in more balls, but Sleep increases the catch rate. It's better, increases the catch rate. I'll go with the Thunder Wave here. Just because I know I don't have to keep re-inflicting it, unless this thing, for some stupid reason, has Refresh. But yeah, the Regis are a bit weird. Their eyes come in the form of a 7-dot formation. Here it just looks like an H. And the other two have just different sort of shapes to this one. They've obviously got something to do with Braille. You need Braille. Like, you need to have somewhat of a knowledge of Braille, or at least know where to look up a translator of sorts if you want to do stuff with these in other games. Introduced in Generation 3, the method of finding these was actually quite cryptic. You had to find a specific spot in a dive patch in a route that's full of currents, so you have to know exactly what path to take. And then you'd have to know exactly what to do and have the ability to actually do it. I believe the puzzle in Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald involved dig. I don't know why there's a second message there, but whatever. I'll read that later on. And you'd need to use dig to open up a hole in a wall, and then you would need a Relicanth and a Whale Lord. You have to have one at the front and one at the end. It differs between Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. Like, it's the same on it's same between Ruby and Sapphire, but it's different in Emerald. So you do that, and then you would get access to the little chambers where they would lie, and then you'd have to do another puzzle in each chamber in order to open the room that they're actually residing in. So it takes a lot of effort to find the Reggies in that game. The only other games that you can find the Reggies here, to shake. I can't find them in any Gen 4 game except for Platinum, and even then you need to have the event Regigigas from Toys R Us. So if you don't have that, you're basically boned. But generally that's not that difficult. You just got to find the rooms. You got to stand on the little spots on the floor that form like the formation of which are just in the same shape as their eyes. And so from there you just sort of do that, talk to the weird golem statue in the room, and it would come to life as one of the Reggies. So that was an interesting thing. And then in Black and White 2, you would find a secret area in the post-game, stand on a certain spot outside a massive door. A door would open, you'd walk into it, do a puzzle, I think like a strength puzzle of some variety, and then you would eventually come across Regirock. And then when you did that, the Regirock would then give you a key, which you would then use in the Unova Link option to access either Registeel or Regice, depending on which game you play. And then if you use the Unova Link, you can send the key that you have to the other version, so that you can have access to all three of them in the one game. So it's not trading, but it still requires the influence of another game. So these things have always had weirdness about them in regards to the methods that you actually unlock them. So it's quite interesting, and they are all representatives of certain time periods. Regirock, as you can tell, is the Stone Age. Then there is Regice, which is the Ice Age, and then Registeel is the Iron Age, obviously. And they're all relatively bulky in defense. Regirock is primarily physical defense. Regice is the opposite of that, which is special defense. And then Registeel is a mix of the two. And then in Gen 4, once you have access to all three of these, you would of course get access to Regigigas, as I mentioned just a little bit earlier. Pretty much every single game since Regigigas was implemented that you could get the Reggies in, every single game that Regigigas was in since it was implemented in Diamond and Pearl required you to have the Reggies in order to get it. So it's Diamond and Pearl and Platinum, you would need the Reggies in your party, whether they were imported or, in the case of Platinum, caught from the event. Black, White 2, you just needed them in your party. Once again, you could catch them if you could either import them from earlier generations, or you could catch them if you had both games with Unova Link. And then in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, they made it really, really weird and made it so that the Regigigas just sort of appeared in Regice's cave. But in order to trigger this, you had to go there during the daytime. You had to give specifically the Regice a nickname, and you had to give it a frozen item, whether that be a snowball or a Castelia cone. Basically something that's frozen, icy, snowy, something along those lines. And then if you did all that, the Regigigas would show up. It's very freaking weird. And the kicker here is, much like the lock capsule gimmick with the event like that, it's not actually worth it, because as powerful as Regigigas is, it's got pretty good attack and pretty decent speed. Its ability counteracts this. The ability is Slow Start. which cuts the attack and defense of... It cuts its attack and speed for the first 5 turns of battle. So by the time it would actually have gotten over that slow start, it was probably already dead. Which is pretty damn shit. And if that wasn't bad enough for ya, as I'm just going to go ahead and speed up here. If that wasn't bad enough for ya, it cannot learn Protect or Detect. It cannot learn Rest either. I believe it's the only Pokemon capable of learning TMs that can't get Protect or Rest. So it's just like, we're going to make this thing a piece of shit. I'm just like, okay, we'll just stall it out. Okay, no, you can't do that. It can't learn Protect. Okay, I'll just put it to sleep. No, we're not letting it learn Rest either. It's basically just a freaking liability in your freaking team. It's very, very stupid. So, you will very rarely get the opportunity to see Regigigas in full flight because there's no reliable way of actually making it good. It will always be a piece of shit. So, there you go. I'm not liking how the curses are counteracting those superpower drops because it's getting my Pokemon killed here, and most of my Pokemon are weak to rock. So that's not exactly helping the cause here either. Like, the last 3 living Pokemon I've got here are all weak to rock. And they're guaranteed 2 KOs, and it's only going to get worse if it keeps spamming Curse. Because I think it's actually already used all 5 of its superpowers. As a matter of fact, it's actually gone and frickin' killed itself with Struggle. So, I'm obviously just going to have to reload the save state here. Thankfully, there's not a black screen. And I will return once this thing has been nabbed. This is probably what's going to happen with the other 2, so strap yourself in. Yeah, that was a bit of a long one. Fuck, this thing can go fuck itself, seriously. I realized that this thing had a move that was super effective against everything on the team except for Turbo Drum. That's how bad this fucking guy was. Thankfully, the next one in line is not going to be quite as obnoxious. So, if you'll excuse me, I will escape right the fuck out of here. And move the fuck on. God, I cannot begin to tell you how stupid that was. But, we're done with that one. Now we can move on to the next one. Lord knows how long this is going to frickin' take for recording. Like, this is going to be like a freaking hour's worth of raw footage, but I may well only have like maybe 25 minutes to work with. So, I may just for the sake of security add myself exploring Vermilion City or some shit like that just to make sure I've got a decently sized segment. I guess it just sort of depends on how long it's going to take me here. Because I would like to at least make a genuine attempt to catch these legends on screen. So, I'm going to adopt the same process here, obviously. And if it does turn out to be too much of an asshole, then guess it just sucks to be us. Also, the reflection of that sprite is flashing. I don't know what the hell is causing that, but it's kind of excellent. Right, throw a save state. I don't think there's much about Regice which we haven't already mentioned yet. It's representative of the Ice Age, it's a special defensive wall. Yeah, I don't know. I think out of these 3, Regice has probably got the most use. Although I think the only real reason that this thing even got used to begin with was because back when RSE, Regice was the best, can't even come up with the word, the best special wall in the metagame because Blissey wasn't released yet, so... Anyhow, we used 9 balls on that attempt, so at least we can say that we've got a decent amount of balls to use here. Yeah, it didn't break out. Yeah, it didn't shake once before breaking out. That's basically what happened with Regirock. A lot of the balls I threw, maybe I'd say about 80% of the balls I threw were broken out of without shaking even once. That's how bad it was. I'm hoping this is somewhat different. But judging by these 2 balls, looks like we're in for more of the same crap. So, I'm not going to have any hesitation in speeding up here. This is what I'm going to be doing off screen anyway, but I want to show it off screen instead of just saying, here's the reg ice, blah 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 blah, let's cut to me catching it, or something like that. Even though people have no real reason to sit around and watch me do this, because I will almost certainly fail this. On the bright side, I've at least got something that can resist its ice moves, and Superpower's not going to do a whole lot, so it should be right. We should be right to not take a whole lot of damage from these, unless it fires off Ancient Power and gets stat boosts from it, because I think it just did get one of those. But, ugh, it's very, 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 very bad. The times are not good for me. Because I'm down to my last 3, and I think all 3 of them are weak to ice in one capacity or another. And there goes Trap Tricks. Kai's is quite weak to icy wind, so it's going to get ripped apart by this frickin' move. And then Tropius. Well, it struggled. I was expecting Tropius to get murdered much the same way as the rest of the team, but it ran out of moves. Yeah. Also, there's dialogue for this, but not for Regirock. Gianni, you might want to work on that when you finally decide you want to go and mess around with this game again. Oh well, you know the deal. Cut back once I've caught it. 2 down, 1 more to go, and then we can finally frickin' move the hell on. Yeah. Only took maybe like 3 or 4 balls on that attempt, actually. I think I ended with about 59 before. I think it's another 6. There might be another 6. Piss off with the goddamn glitchy overworld thingy-mabob stupid thing. Whatever. Blackthorn City, which is exactly where we need to be, because the last member of the trio in the form of Registeel is actually in the Dark Cave. And so we will have to go ahead and give Kaiser the flick, I guess, for the time being. And then I can go and have a gander down here. Because I'm going to need the Rotom anyway, because Flash. Now I gotta work out where it is. I think I gotta use Surf, which means that I will actually be required to go back. I apologize for the waste in time, but I need Surf. I actually, yeah. Yeah. Don't have anything more to say, just... give Floofin the flick, I guess. What the fuck was that? What? Okay, what the hell was... Ah, Hall of Fame, okay. I never ever bothered to check that, so... There you go. All I know about the Hall of Fame is that you can glitch it out to the middle of next week just by doing the missing no glitch in red, blue, and yellow. That's about it. Except the missing no glitch only existed in red and blue. So, moving on. There he is. There's Registeel. Is it possible to actually get here without Surf? No it is not, because that's a one-way path. Alright. Throw another save state. Turbo, I might say, is pretty well suited to deal with it. With that, I don't know what the hell what that bloody sound was. But, whatever. So, Registeel's eye setup looks a bit like what the star... that's the same formation as the stars on the 7-star Dragon Ball. It's the only real noteworthy thing I can say about this. Aside from the fact that one of its other sprites from, I think, either Platinum or Diamond and Pearl or something like that, shows it doing the Nazi salute, which is a bit, yeah. I'm not too sure if it was intentional or not, but obviously it has been rectified for future releases. So, as far as I'm aware, Diamond and Pearl are the only games that actually have the Registeel with the Nazi salute. I may be completely wrong about that. It might actually be a different game that has it, and not Diamond and Pearl, but whatever. Same deal as usual, just sitting here. If it fails, then I do it off screen. Good times. And at this point, I'm not quite that fussed about running low on balls here, because I'm not going to be catching legendaries for quite a while. And I imagine I'll probably need to refill my Pokeballs at some point. I've got the money to buy more Pokeballs anyway, so I've got a pretty decent supply of Premier Balls as it is. I just don't want each of these legendaries to take too many balls. I don't mind if it takes time. If the actual successful attempt only uses maybe like half a dozen balls at max. So, in this case, however, yeah, I just accidentally pressed run away right there. So, yeah, there's the failed attempt. I will return once I have been met with some success. I also forgot to mention that its cry is very much the Transformers transforming sound. I just spoke over the top of it there, but oh well, I'm not too fussed. The good news is it only actually took me one attempt after actually cutting. The bad news, however, is that I've got a black screen. Yay. Thankfully though, if this segment does go south, I can quite easily just reload the save state from when from before I caught Regirock, and I will start back exactly where I started the segment anyway. So let me just quickly go ahead and reset. And then use this last escape rope. And then as far as I'm concerned, I might as well go and have a gander at Kanto. There's literally nothing left for me to do in the Johto region, except for maybe walk around and maybe pick up some items that I haven't actually picked up yet. Not that I believe any of those will be of any use. I think the only things that I have left to do in Johto are things that I will need to do a bit of exploration in Kanto for, such as getting the last two unknowns. So, if we go in here, get to do this, and then I get to do that, and then I might as well look at these, because it actually has just occurred to me, there is a big side quest that you have to do on the boat. Yeah. Well, neutral, plus defense minus special attack. That's probably the best one in regards to nature, because the other two are shit because they're neutral. Like, don't say neutral doesn't make them shit, because they are. Yeah, I know, that sounded very, very elitist, but whatever, it's true. Any unique ability? Oh, Regice has Ice Body, which I suppose is kind of cool. But the other two have Sturdy, which is just kind of useless there. But, oh well, I guess I don't have much real reason to complain. How many Premier Balls have I got left? I've been left with 35, so it took me a grand total of 30 Premier Balls to catch all three of these. So, Registeel took 18 balls. Okay, I think it's about good. So yeah. Random side quest that I didn't know about leads us to end the segment right here. Alright, it's not like I had to go and get Meridian Sound things over there anyway. I couldn't even if I got there because I didn't have the expansion card, so whatever. Next time we'll be doing things on a boat and finally reaching the Kanto region. I will see you then.